Hey guys, it's Kelsi. That's me. I'm here today to talk about cereal, one of my favorite foods of all time. And I even have some here with me, Captain Crunch. I don't know if I'm going to eat some on stream, but I doubt it. It's not like you guys haven't seen somebody eat Captain Crunch before, so whatevs. But today we are, if you guys aren't familiar, we are talking about cereal, and it's a video that was started, or a video series I should say, that was started over a year ago. I did my first Morning Madness, which that's what this is, Morning Madness. You know, like March Madness. So since we're in March, last March, I did the first video where I pit 64 cereals against one another, and I put out a series of polls for the first round. Now, today, I'll be revealing that set of 32 polls with the 64 cereals, and we'll see which cereals won and are going on to the second round. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, the first video was done all the way last March, and we're picking it back up this March because it's a spoof of March Madness, but again, it's Morning Madness. And so I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And let me just preface this with, so the last video I did last March was all about the brackets. So I basically did a bracket reveal. So there was no results yet, that first video. So today is the first time we're looking at results from the first round. And then we're going to see what the second round has in store for us. We've got Grayson in the chat. Thanks so much for joining. Appreciate you. We've got Nails. We've got Zach. Appreciate all of you guys so much. And now let's get to the crunchy good stuff. Cereal! Alright, let me show you guys the cool title page I made. Here we go. Like I said, it's Morning Madness. As you can see, look at some of the cereals that were featured in the initial bracket. Some of these have since been eliminated, unfortunately, though. It's so sad. How come some of my favorites, by the way, have been eliminated, and we'll talk about that when we get there. I've been very disappointed about some of the results, but other results are good and exciting. And there's some tough polls coming up for round 2, so if you guys want to participate in the polls, all you have to do is follow me on Twitter at SuperKickinIt, and then you will be able to vote in these polls, which should come up. I should put them out at the latest by tomorrow, so look out for that. As you can see, Trix, Frosted Flakes, Cookie Crisp, Froot Loops, Honey Smacks, Rice Krispies, Fruity Pebbles, Apple Jacks, Cocoa Pebbles, Pops, Golden Grahams, O's, Weetabix, which I did try in that other video from last March. I tried it dry, I tried it with honey, and I tried it, how else did I try it? I know I tried it 3 different ways. I think I tried it with some bananas. That was decent, but yeah, dry, it was pretty crunchy. Even Nail said, you're not supposed to eat it that way. What are you doing? Like, I don't know. Everyone was advising me against eating it dry, but I did it. And I survived and lived to tell the tale. So it all worked out okay. Then we also have Lucky Charms, Captain Crunch, Honey Bunches of Oats, Honey Nut Cheerios, Life, Oreo O's, Cocoa Puffs, and Mini Wheats. And I'll say this. So all of these were supposed to be current cereals, but since a year has passed, I'm hoping that all the cereals in the initial poll are actually still around, but we'll let that slide a little bit. And the only thing that's kind of cheating on this in the original bracket was that I included Rice Krispies Treats Cereal, the 90s recipe though. It's still out today, but they changed the recipe. So my poll was all about the 90s recipe. So that's a little bit of breaking my own rules, but it is what it is. Alright, so soon we're going to reveal the results. I also have some fun facts about cereal ready to read to you guys. In fact, before we even get into the poll results, let's just look at a few of these fun facts, shall we? Alright, so starting off first, the word cereal comes from the ancient Greek word cereala, if I'm even saying that right, which I probably am not. And that is a major festival celebrating Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, the goddess of agriculture. How interesting. I had no idea that it actually had a meaning behind it. Most words do, but I don't know why. Rob is using, in the chat, he is using ramen emojis because there is no cereal emojis. Get yourself together, platforms, and start featuring cereal emojis. You know who loves cereal? I think maybe the most famous fan of cereal might be Jerry Seinfeld. If you guys are Seinfeld fans, of course, the 90s wonderful, iconic TV show, you might have noticed he has rows of cereal in his apartment, and also he is always talking about like eating cereal, or you could see him eating cereal, or sometimes it's Kramer stealing Jerry's cereal. So lots of cereal stuff in Seinfeld. We've got Kat in the chat. Welcome, Kat, and welcome to everyone who's watching right now. So some more fun facts. We have also got Tom. Turn up, learn cereal trivia. Never a dull moment in here. I'm all tongue twisted. Yay, I'm so happy to see you, Tom. Froot Loops. Froot Loops, red, green, blue, and purple, right? All those fruity O's are supposed to represent different fruit flavors. That's a negative. Kellogg's itself has confirmed that the colors represent only a single sugary fruit flavor. They literally just call the flavor F-R-O-O-T, fruit. So when you're eating, Froot Loops, you might have had a favorite color as a kid. However, it's your imagination. They all taste the same, apparently. I had no idea about this, but it is true. It is a fact, apparently. Another fun fact, this is one of my favorite cereals, Honey Smacks. A single serving of Honey Smacks. Now, this was as of like 3 or 4 years ago. They may have changed the recipe. But according to this site, blog.cheapism.com, they say that a single serving of Honey Smacks contains more sugar than a Twinkie. That's pretty high in sugar, and they're all trying to cut down on flippin' sugary cereals nowadays, and I think that's a flippin' shame. I love the sugary cereals. Keep them the way nature intended them. The bad way they were made, the unhealthy way. Keep them that way. That's the way we grew up having them. Make our nostalgic selves and our kid selves happy, please. We want our inner child to still delight in eating a bowl of cereal, don't we? We got Zach in the chat. Hi, Zach. Thanks for joining. Thanks to everyone again. And this is kind of interesting here. There was almost a fourth Rice Krispies mascot. Rice Krispies' long-standing mascots, the adorable elves Snap, Crackle, and Pop. By the way, if you look at the new box of Rice Krispie Treat cereal, they don't look adorable. They look quite scary, like evil creatures. They don't even look like elves. Like sweet elves. They look like menacing demons or something. I don't like the way they look on the new Rice Krispie Treat cereal box. Now, I haven't looked at a recent just plain Rice Krispies box. They could be nicer looking on there, but I don't know. The last time I saw them on the other box, it was bad. I thought, whoa, they've really gone downhill with the way they're drawing these characters. So anyway, the original 3 and the iconic 3 are Snap, Crackle, and Pop. They started appearing in ads for cereal in the 30s, and they came together on the box beginning in 1941. But in the 50s, Kellogg ad executives used a 4th character named Pow. So it would have been Snap, Crackle, Pop, and Pow. Snap, Crackle, Pop, Pow. I mean, it goes well, but it just doesn't seem right at the same time. So they used them in a couple of commercials in the 50s. And he was a spaceman character who never spoke, instead zipping around on some sort of spacecraft and adding power to every box of Rice Krispies. I wish I would have found a YouTube video of this. Oh my gosh. Nails must not have known that they were elves. Yes, they're elves, Nails. The Snap, Crackle, and Pop dudes. They're iconic elves. And we'll get into more trivia, but let's get into the poll results now. It'll break up the trivia a little bit. But I did want to give some fun facts to show you that I didn't just throw in poll results here, that I actually have some substance. Food-wise and information-wise. Substance in 2 different kind of ways. Snap, Crackle, and Pop, Rob says. Ugh, names after the noises my body makes when I get up. So he would have named the 4th mysterious elf, to go along with the painful body noises. Ugh. Anyway, by the way, I'm wearing, not related to cereal, but, cereal kind of reminds you of Saturdays and Saturday morning cartoons, so I thought it might be appropriate that I wear a cartoon t-shirt. So, old school 90s Nickelodeon. You could see Reptar, you could see Angry Beavers, you could see Arnold, you could see Ren, you could see Helga, all kinds of stuff. There's Filbert. All kinds of cute little 90s Nickelodeon characters. You guys know that's my jam. So let's get to the round 1 results. Again, the total amount of cereals in the original bracket and the polls were 64 cereals. That's quite a lot. When we go into round 2, we'll only have 32 cereals left standing. And then eventually, after all the rounds, by the way, there will be 6 total rounds when it's all said and done. And the final round will only have 2 cereals going head to head to find out what is the best cereal right now on the shelves. We'll have to see. I can't wait to find out what's going to be in the final poll. What is going to survive? What is going to make it there? I can't wait to see. So before I go into the results, let me just tell you how I did my bracket was I had randomly picked cereal names from a hat. The only thing I had placed on the bracket beforehand was my top 8 seeds, how did I pick what to put as the top 8 seeds? Well, I picked my top 8 favorite overall cereals, personally my favorites. That way I ensured that they wouldn't go against each other in the first round. So that is the only thing that I predetermined before I made that first video. Everything else was at random and was pulled from a hat. So let me just tell you which were the top overall seeds, aka my favorites. So let's take a look at it. Okay, as you can see on your screen, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is one of my top 8 favorites. Rice Krispies Treats Cereals, as I said, the 90s recipe specifically. Captain Crunch, which I have right with me on set today while I record this video. Then we've got Lucky Charms because I didn't like it that much as a kid, but I'm actually liking it, honestly, more and more as an adult. Like, I literally just finished a box of it this week. Also, Froot Loops made it in the top 8. Cocoa Pebbles, which recently I actually ate Fruity Pebbles, which is the other version of the Pebbles cereal. One obviously is fruity. The other one, this one that you see on your screen that was in my top 8, is chocolatey. The fruity one, honestly, I had it like a month or two ago. It dissolves so quick in milk. It's almost like criminal how fast it dissolves. It's like, kind of makes me, I love the flavor of the cereal, but it just goes away like it's air. By the time you're done eating your bowl, you're like, there's no substance left. It all melted into my milk. Well, anyway, so I do prefer Cocoa Pebbles, but I bet you if I had a bowl recently, I'm sure I would have said the same thing, that it dissolves just like Fruity Pebbles does. But I still like it a lot. Honey Graham Ohs, which is a cereal that not many people know about, but I love it. It's really good, super crunchy, and it doesn't get soggy very fast at all. It stays quite crunchy throughout your whole bowl of cereal. And it's almost at the end to where it starts to get a little soggy, but not in a bad way, in a good way. And it's just delicious. You could even snack on these babies dry. Oh man, they're so good. I really want to get a box, but they're hard to find. They're not at my local store's called Winn-Dixie, and they're not there. So I either have to go to this store called Rouse's, or maybe Target sometimes has them. You gotta look around. Walmart might even have them, but my local Winn-Dixie does not. And finally, the final top 8 seed, Frosted Mini Wheats. One, look at that cute little mini wheat on the box. So adorable. He's so little and square, and he's got a smile. Anyway, I love him. I just love the design of all the characters of the little mini wheats. And I do think box art, when you think about cereal, you kind of get super nostalgic, not just because of the old sugary flavors and good memories of having a bowl with cartoons, but also, I just think the box art is very, very nostalgic too. And it makes you think of back in the day when you woke up and you saw that fruity box, or when you're going down the aisle and you're like, ooh, that one grabs my eye. Like, look at that great looking old school Rice Krispie Treat box cover art right there. It looks awesome. I love it. Just like horror paperbacks, I feel like, those covers are important to draw people in to buy the books. Same thing with cereals. There's so many out there. You need something to stick out above the crowd, and I feel like the box art is something that helps these cereal brands do that. Jody's with us. Hey, Jody. She says, Fruity Pebbles suck. Oh my gosh. I actually like Fruity Pebbles, but like I said, they sure do dissolve, and they just disappear into nothingness. And then you're all like, man, I feel like I barely ate anything. And then you're hungry like 5 minutes later, which kind of sucks, to be honest. All right, so let's look at our first poll result. This one pitted Cinnamon Toast Crunch against Kellogg Corn Flakes. This was super easy. Come on, what's going to win against a sugary cereal and a non-sugary cereal? I feel like it was a shoo-in for Cinnamon Toast Crunch in this poll here. So, to me, this was no surprise, and it had a total of 109 total votes. So, not too shabby on the amount of people who voted on that. Here I am, I'm popping back in so you can see me while I go over these results. Alright, so our first one, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, advances, and that's a lot of people's favorites, and it's obviously one of mine. It was in my top 8 seeds. Oops, let me get back to this. Alright, second poll, Golden Grahams, another personal favorite, but not a top seed of mine, versus Froot Loops Marshmallows, which is a variety of Froot Loops cereal. Golden Grahams won, also no surprise, it's way more iconic. It won with 67.9%, whereas Froot Loops Marshmallows only got 32.1%. And that was out of a lesser amount of votes, but still nothing too shabby. 53 votes, nothing to snuff at. Then onwards, because we're going to go on to what cereals that advanced are going to go against other cereals that advanced. We'll go through that next. As you can see, I did a cool little background of, those are Fruity Pebbles right there that you see on your screen as my background. I was like, I gotta do something cereal-like for the background, so that's what I chose. Very colorful, and that's something, not only the box art, but the cereal itself, a lot of times, for kids at least, would would be colorful, so the kids would be like, yeah, I want that when they saw the commercials. So I think color, not only on the box, but in the cereal itself, is a big part of marketing for cereal brands. Alright, so this one pits Franken Berry, a classic seasonal cereal, against Frosted Cheerios, and I was surprised by this. I thought maybe Franken Berry would be a nostalgic pick to move forward, but no. Frosted Cheerios won with 60.7% of the votes, whereas Franken Berry only received 39.3%. I cut off the amount of votes on this one, so we just have to speculate. We don't know how many people voted. Still, doesn't matter. Frosted Cheerios is advancing. Kat says, I love cereal. I currently have a box of Froot Loops, Reese's, Bunny Puffs, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the pantry. Oh my god, I'm just like you. The first thing I did, and I did say this last March in my first video, the first thing I did when I got into college and got my apartment that I lived on campus in, I bought 10 boxes of cereal. However, some of them went stale because I didn't eat enough of them quickly enough for them to stay and keep. But yeah, I bought so many boxes because my mom would only be like, only 2 or 3 at a time, and I'd be like, no, I want them all. Right now, we did have Lucky Charms, Captain Crunch, and Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Right now, we only have Captain Crunch and Corn Flakes because I ate all the Lucky Charms. So I wanted to get another box yesterday, but I didn't. Next time I go to the store, though, I will. Speaking of Lucky Charms, as you could see the big blue bar there. It won. Lucky Charms versus Chex. No competition there. 89 votes, but Lucky Charms won with 86.5% of those votes. And Chex only got 13.5. Sorry, Chex, you out of here. Cheerios versus Cinnamon Life. Cheerios won, and this is not Honey Nut Cheerios. This is the plain Cheerios. And it was against Cinnamon Life, which I love Cinnamon Life, but it was a close race here, with Cheerios winning just 55.9% over Cinnamon Life with 44.1% out of 93 total votes. Very tough, close one there. I'm surprised, though. Cinnamon Life is a lot more flavorful. Jody says her daughter eats Fruity Pebbles with yogurt. I have never heard of that. I wonder, is it good? I mean, have you tried it, Jody? Have you tried what your daughter eats, to see if it tastes good? Because that's kind of, I would have never thought to combine that ever, but it sounds intriguing. Rob says, Franken Berry this past Halloween was awful, but amazingly it wasn't the worst of the 3. That would be Boo Berry. Oh my god, yeah, Boo Berry. I don't think I've even honestly ever tried any of the 3. I love the box art, but have I tried those? No. I know a lot of people love Count Chocula, but yeah. I don't think I can give an opinion because if I remember, I'm trying to think back. Did I ever try it? Ever? Even once? I don't think. Rob also says plain Chex will never beat Lucky Charms, but peanut butter Chex is a top 5 all-time cereal for him. I've got to try that because I've never had it, but I believe we do have, I know we've got peanut butter Cheerios on this list. I can't remember if we have peanut butter Chex on this list. Now, there's actually more than 64 current cereals. That just tells you how deep the cereal market is, but I couldn't include, I had to pick and choose when I was making and picking what cereals out to put in the bracket. It was difficult, but I did it last year. I'm glad the planning part of picking cereals is over. That was difficult. I'm glad that's out of the way. Here is a crime that you see on your screen right now. Fruity Pebbles versus Captain Crunch. And flippin' Captain Crunch lost. It lost by less than 1%. Okay, so this is so sad. This is so sad. Fruity Pebbles won with 50.4% of the vote. Captain Crunch lost with just slightly less votes, 49.6% out of 115 votes. This is a crime. This is sad. The cereal I have with me right here did not make it. No! It's like the Lion King. Whatever. I wish it would have passed. It's one of my favorites. In fact, you know, it might be one of my favorites because my mom never let me get it as a kid. She thought it was way too sugary, and she's just like, I don't like Captain Crunch. So I could never have it growing up. And so now I get it all the time. Maybe just because I'm trying to rebel from my childhood restraints that I'm now doing whatever I want when I'm an adult, which includes buying Captain Crunch. But yeah, sadly, people didn't agree with me that it beats Fruity Pebbles. Now, I like Fruity Pebbles, but is it a top 5 or a top 8? No! I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it. Nail says that Rob should get a Twitter account to vote. You gotta be in it to win it. You gotta vote on these polls or, like, your voice won't be heard. If you don't have a Twitter, guys, I mean, I don't know how else, because it's not easy to put out a poll on Facebook. They stopped doing polls. So I can't do one on Facebook and Twitter and then combine the amount of votes and figure out a new percentage. It just won't work. So it's got to be on Twitter. It's the easiest way to vote. So sorry, guys. Twitter's the way I'm going with my polls. And again, they'll be up starting tomorrow for a few days. I've got to make it a short amount of days because we've got 6 rounds of polls. Technically, after the second round, only 4 more rounds of polls. But still, we've got a lot of polls to get through after this second round finishes up. And I want to wrap it up by March because Morning Madness, March Madness, we got to do it in the same month. We got to try. So hopefully things get progressing with these polls. So next result, let's take a look at this here. Honeycomb versus Life. And this doesn't surprise me either because, again, this isn't flavored Life we're talking about. It's just plain old Life. So Honeycomb beating it doesn't surprise me. It won with 63.8% of the vote, whereas Life only got 36.2% of the vote, 94 total votes. Not surprising, but we'll see what Honeycomb is going up against and if it's got a more difficult opponent for the next round. Here we go. Rice Krispies Treats Cereal, as you can see, it has 90s by it, which means 90s recipe, versus Honey Made S'mores Cereal, which is like a newer cereal. My boy, my horse in the race won Rice Krispies Treats Cereal from the 90s with 77.4% of the vote. I am obviously biased in this. I would love it for to go all the way into the 5th or 6th final round. I don't know. I want it to keep going. Come on. Keep going in the polls, Rice Krispies Treats Cereal 90s version. Let's go. So 93 total votes, and Honey Made S'mores only got 22.6%. Wah! It's too bad. Get out of here, Honey Made S'mores. We don't need you. We don't need you. I'm just too excited about this result. Oh my god. Rob says this s'more cereal might be his favorite of all time. Alright, so I'm bashing it. And this is kind of mean. I haven't even tried it. So I am sitting here bashing it just solely based on my love of Rice Krispies Treats cereal from the 90s. Now, if we're talking about Rice Krispies Treats cereal now, they've ruined the recipe. Oh my god, the fake marshmallows in it. It's not even good like Lucky Charms marshmallows. It's worse. It's so bad. It's like those marshmallows you get in hot chocolate, you know, before you microwave it. But it's not even good. Like, you could eat those microwavable hot chocolate ones, and that would be good to you. The ones in the Rice Krispies Treats cereal now? Hell no. No. And Rob, you've inspired me. I am going to try the Honey Made S'mores cereal. I will do it, I swear. In fact, I might even do it on a future stream. We'll see. Alright, this is a big one here. 2 classic iconic cereals, Frosted Flakes versus Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Now, Raisin Bran might not be the most flashy cereal out there. You know, Bran. But it is a classic, as I said. It does hold a very important place in cereal history. So to me, it could have had a chance. However, it lost. Frosted Flakes won with 87.5% of the vote, whereas Kellogg's Raisin Bran only got 12.5% of the vote. Zach is laughing. He says, Raisin Bran got destroyed. And yeah, Nails is confirming, saying this was a slam dunk for Frosted Flakes. Yeah, it was pretty definitive if you look at the poll results. That's crazy. 72 total votes on that one. Onwards, very weird new cereal, which I must admit I have not tried. It could be good. Drumstick Cereal, and it comes in a multitude of flavors. It's a newish cereal, and I said you could vote for any flavor. Then, of course, it had the unfortunate, I guess, circumstance, or it just had bad luck, being paired up against Reese's Puff Cereal. There ain't no way this newish Drumstick Cereal is going to come anywhere close to the history and nostalgic love that people have for Reese's Puff cereal. I mean, I knew somebody back in elementary school, my friend Kristen. Her family always had Reese's Puff cereal and Cookie Crisp in her pantry at all times. In fact, the only time I ever had this cereal was at her house, Reese's Puffs. So yeah, it won. This is probably our most lopsided vote so far. 92.2% for Reese's Puffs, whereas Drumstick Cereal, poor thing, it's limping away, dejected. It only got 7.8% of the vote, 64 total votes. And I think if there had been more votes, it would have been the same. I think more votes wouldn't have made much of a difference here. All right, here we go. I really like Raisin Bran Crunch, and so, but I also love Frosted Mini Wheats. That was one of my top 8. So this is Frosted Mini Wheats versus Raisin Bran Crunch, and 30% difference about, a little less. It looks like Frosted Mini Wheats won with 61.3% of the vote, whereas Raisin Bran Crunch, a cereal I quite like, but don't love, it got 38.8% of the vote, 80 total votes. It got destroyed a little bit. Definitely not as lopsided as the other one, though. Here we go. Froot Loops versus Kix. I'm not surprised by this in the least. Froot Loops won in a landslide. Kix isn't very popular. Some people think it's good, but I hardly ever ate it ever in my entire life. I'm not saying it's bad, I just didn't eat it very often. 102 total votes. Kix lost with 18.6% of the vote, whereas Froot Loops won with 81.4%. Alright, here we go. Regular Rice Krispies, plain old Rice Krispies, against a newer cereal, Hershey's Kisses cereal. Hershey's Kisses cereal, did I just say Kissies? Hershey's Kisses cereal lost with 20.2% of the vote out of 89 votes. Rice Krispies finished with 79.8% of that vote. And yeah, Rice Krispies crushed it. However, I see Rice Krispies plain cereal struggling as we go forward in the polls because it's plain. Paul loves it because he puts sugar on it, but and I did that too as a kid, but still, was never my top jam. I would always pick Rice Krispie Treat cereal over it anytime, any day, any place. It doesn't matter if it was a friend's house, my house, Rice Krispie Treat cereal all day, every day. Oh my gosh, there's a petition online to change the Rice Krispie Treat cereal back to the 90s recipe. Rob, it's okay. I'll get it from Nails. I'm sure she could send it to me by DM. I will vote and sign this petition. I will vote in it, sign in it, whatever you need to do, I will do it to bring back the 90s recipe for the 90s Rice Krispie Treat cereal. It's a crime that it has changed. I tweeted about it after I tried it. I was like, this is blasphemy. That's really strong, but I really believed it when I tweeted that. And this is another travesty. How could this be? Trix cereal versus Oreo O's. Trix was my most sought after cereal as a kid. My mom would hardly ever agree to buy it. I don't know why. She would buy stuff like Lucky Charms, but not allow me to have Trix. And to see it get eliminated, by such a small margin, by the way, to Oreo O's. Not that they're bad, but why? Trix is so iconic. Silly rabbit, Trix are for kids. Apparently not. Oreo O's are more for kids than adults, apparently, because it won in the poll. Damn it. So 79 votes, Oreo O's. That's so hard to say fast. Oreo O's won with 51.9% of the vote. Trix lost with only 48.1%. I'm mad. Zach demands a recount. Trix should not be eliminated in the first round. Now, okay, this was just an unlucky combination because I was hoping the bracket, no two big cereals would be pitted against each other and get eliminated. But of course, because I drew from a cereal box and I picked at random, except for those top 8 seeds, I knew that it was a possibility that a really good cereal could get matched up against another really good popular cereal, and then we had one of the big ones eliminated right in the first round. And hence this example, it happened. It's a bummer. It is what it is. Trix really should have gotten it at least into the third round, but we'll see how the second round shapes out to see if there's more hard decisions like this one, because I am not happy with this result. Cocoa Pebbles versus Crave. Crave isn't so popular. It's not bad. I like it. I've tried it. 16.4% of the vote it got in this poll, whereas Cocoa Pebbles won with 83.6% out of 61 total votes. Cocoa Pebbles, let's go. Then we have Golden Crisp versus Honey Graham Ohs, which I love Honey Graham Ohs. It was one of my top 8. It got eliminated, no surprise. It's my favorite, doesn't mean it's everyone's favorite. In fact, it's kind of like a hidden gem of a cereal. It's not very widely known about. As I said, it's hard for me to even find it today, so I'm not surprised that it lost. But, you know, there's not that big of a gap between these poll results, though, these percentages. Golden Crisp only won with 56% of the vote. Honey Graham Ohs got 44% out of 50 votes. Alright, this is a weird matchup. Sour Patch Kids cereal, which I have not tried, and it's very off-putting sounding. Like, I don't know if I would want it. I love Sour Patch Kids, the candy. In fact, it's one of my favorite candies ever. That's just a little tidbit because I love candy, period, but I've never done anything about what are my favorite candies. Well, I'm giving you a spoiler right here. If I ever did a top 10 video of my favorite candies, Sour Patch Kids would definitely be on it, even though I don't like the new blue color addition to the Sour Patch Kids. I try to ignore the blue. In fact, I pick them out. And I don't eat the orange ones either. I love the yellow, red, and green, though. Oh my god. Top-notch candy. However, the cereal, I'm not so sure that it would translate to the cereal, but I believe, I don't know. I didn't think it had a chance here because Boo Berry, although people say it's bad, it's still iconic, especially the cover art and stuff like that. So Boo Berry won, and I think that was pretty much, you could have expected that, very much expected. 80.8% of the vote, whereas Sour Patch Kids lost with 19.2%. Sour Patch cereal sounds as enticing as Jolly Rancher cereal. Oh my god, either one doesn't sound very appetizing at all. Rob is commenting how, yeah, both of them sound kind of like, not so enticing. I totally agree with you, Rob. Okay, here we go. This is a great cereal. French Toast Crunch cereal, which has been brought back from the 90s. So good. I do really enjoy this cereal. Versus Honey Smacks. It's a shame because I also enjoy Honey Smacks as well. And as we said, one serving of Honey Smacks jam-packed with sugar. In fact, like half of the box, at least as of a few years ago, was sugar. So one single serving of the cereal Honey Smacks has more sugar than a Twinkie. Also, I saw a different blog that said it also has more sugar than one Dunkin' Donuts glazed donut. Can you believe it? That's a lot of sugar. So yeah, Honey Smacks lost in this poll with 39.3% of 61 votes. French Toast Crunch won with 60.7%. And Zach is saying, Honey Smacks is out too, shaking my head. Yeah, I know. Some really big things have gotten eliminated in the first round. I just can't believe it. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Churros, a different spin on Cinnamon Toast Crunch, versus Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios is classic. This doesn't surprise me either. It won with 69.1% of the vote, whereas Cinnamon Toast Crunch Churros, while I'm sure it's good, it lost with 30.9%, 55 total votes. Jody's saying, since I mentioned Dunkin' Donuts and how one serving of Sugar Smacks or Honey Smacks has more sugar than a Dunkin' donut, she's asking, has anyone tried Dunkin' Donut cereal? I didn't even realize there was a Dunkin' Donut cereal, Jody. I have not tried it, but I wouldn't be opposed to trying it, I gotta say. I'm all into cereal, and I'll try as much cereal as I can. Usually when I go, though, now I'm trying to be all adult, and I always look at the serving, like, the calories and stuff per serving. That's so boring. It's so adult, but it's what I do now. I'm so sad that I do this. Whatever. It is what it is. Okay. So this one pitted Oatmeal Squares, which I actually like, but they are kind of bland, versus Pop-Tart cereal, which I also tried. So in my last video last March, which was the first cereal video I did in this series, I tried on camera Pop-Tart cereal, and at first I'm like, I don't know how to feel, but then my eyes light up and I'm like, oh my god, it's badass. And let me tell you, it is great. I have since gotten Pop-Tart cereal a couple of times. They have different Pop-Tart cereal flavors now. I originally tried like the strawberry flavor, like that was my favorite Pop-Tart flavor growing up, so that's the cereal I went with for the Pop-Tart cereal. Good choice. But they've got other good ones. I think they've got like a chocolate one. There might be another one too, but anyway, Pop-Tart cereal won. I would have been fine with either of these. Pop-Tart cereal won with 72.4% of the vote. Oatmeal Squares lost with 27.6%. 58 total votes. Here we go. Captain Crunch Peanut Butter versus Cookie Crisp. You can't say it without saying it like that, like the iconic commercial back in the day. Of course, two good cereals pitted against each other here, although I would say and admit Captain Crunch Peanut Butter not as popular or iconic as Cookie Crisp. So Cookie Crisp won with 60.3% of the vote. Captain Crunch was crunched or crushed or both at 39.7% with 68 total votes placed. Captain Crunch Berries versus Wheaties. Wheaties, super historic, but still lost. 18.3% it got in this poll, whereas Captain Crunch Berries got 81.7%, 60 votes. And Zach is saying this is a travesty of justice, and I don't know if he's talking about this poll or the previous one. Just confirm, Zach, what is the travesty? The Captain Crunch Berries beating Wheaties, or the one we just did with the Cookie Crisp beating Captain Crunch Peanut Butter? Let me know what you think and what is a true travesty. Also, by the way, let me tell you a little tidbit about Wheaties. It's somewhere here. Here it is. Michael Jordan is the athlete who's been on the Wheaties box the most, with a whopping 18 appearances. That makes sense to me. I could totally see him being the most featured athlete. But in terms of which cereal is more iconic, you would say Wheaties. But nope, it's gone. And Zach confirms it's actually the previous poll here. He's upset that Peanut Butter Captain Crunch is booted. He's like, how could this be? But you gotta admit, Zach, I mean, Cookie Crisp with those commercials, that was super popular, especially in the 90s. So to me, I could see why people might favor that, if not for nostalgia alone. I am very happy with this result here. This had no chance. Total, get on out of here. Total versus Apple Jacks. Apple Jacks is just too sugary and good to lose against Total. Total is healthy, don't get me wrong. It just doesn't got the pizzazz that Apple Jacks does. Plus, Apple Jacks did some great commercials in the 90s, so there you go. Apple Jacks won with 89.4%. Total lost, and I mean lost big time, with 10.6% of the vote. 66 total votes. Honey Bunches of Oats, a favorite of mine, versus Cocoa Krispies. No! Cocoa Krispies won with 61.5% of the vote versus Honey Bunches of Oats only getting 38.5, 52 total votes. I almost thought I had my glasses on. I went to move them and they weren't there. Oh, I'm so used to glasses. They're not on me. I'm like, oh, where are they? They're not there. All right, so here we go. Moving onwards. Lots of votes to get through. Sorry, guys. Again, if you think about it, so 64 cereals, 32 polls. Lots to go through. Peeps cereal versus Honey Bunches of Oats with almonds, which I actually don't like as much as Honey Bunches of Oats, the original. But Honey Bunches with almonds actually won against Peeps cereal, probably because it's a new cereal and a lot of people haven't tried it yet. So Honey Bunches with almonds got 78%, and Peeps cereal got 22%, 41 total votes. Nesquik cereal, which I would love to try, by the way, versus Corn Pops, or as I call them, just Pops. I would always say, Dad, Mom, can you get some Pops for me? And they would know what I'm talking about. I know somebody was surprised that I don't call them Corn Pops, that I just call them Pops, but I do. It is what I've always done, even as a kid. So Corn Pops, aka, as I say, Pops, won with 73.8% of the vote. Nesquik cereal only got 26.2% out of 65 votes. Zach says Peeps are creepy, referring to our Peeps cereal poll that we just saw. Again, Peeps has been eliminated. Rob said he recently tried Peeps cereal and can confirm I am utter trash because I love it. So he loves it. I'm not saying it's bad. I love Peeps in general. In fact, I had heard rumors that they might shut down the Peeps factory because of the COVID and, cutbacks. Then they said they were going to do Peeps for Easter, and I was like, hell yeah, they better do Peeps for Easter. Thank God. No blasphemy intended. Easter God, whatever. Alright. So yeah, I'm all up for trying Peeps cereal. I just haven't gotten there yet. Maybe I'll try it on stream. I have to buy cereals for these next few streams, I guess. Alright. Cocoa Puffs versus Frosted Krispies. Believe it or not, I've never tried Frosted Krispies because I was too busy having Frosted Cheerios, which I love. So Frosted Krispies, I couldn't really make an educated guess on this poll, but it lost with 25.4%, whereas Cocoa Puffs won with 74.6%. 71 total votes. Booty O's, of course, we're talking about the wrestling-themed cereal. Your boys, The New Day, it's their cereal, versus Cinnamon Chex. And although Cinnamon Chex has the history behind it and the pedigree behind it, like, you know, I would even say, like, it's got an iconic place in cereal history, at least a little more than Booty O's because it's more new, it's still lost. Booty O's won with 55% of the vote, whereas Cinnamon Chex got 44.4%. Cat's excited about Cocoa Puffs going forward, as we saw that was our previous Cocoa Puffs moving on. Cat's all for Cocoa Puffs. And again, Booty O's, it's surprising here that it beat Chex. Then we've got Eggo Cereal. I have not tried this either, but I want to yet again. As you can see, I love cereal. I will try any of these, even the trash ones that seem really bad, like the Sour Patch Kids. If the stakes were high enough, I would try it. It's not my number one on my list to try, but I would do it, just to do it. So Eggo Cereal versus Count Chocula. This is no surprise. Count Chocula has that whole nostalgia pull from, you know, the holiday. It's very iconic. You see the box and you're like, yeah, Count Chocula. So Count Chocula won with 73.8%. Eggo Cereal only got 26.2%. 65 total votes. Zach said, it's the power of positivity that made Booty O's successful in the previous poll. Grape Nuts versus any bag of malto meal. So malto meal is kind of a generic form of cereal, and of course they've got a version of Frosted Flakes, but it's not called that. They've got a version of Lucky Charms, but it's not called that. They've got a version of Froot Loops, but it's not called that. So any bag of malto meal versus Grape Nuts, and malto meal won with 52% of the vote. Grape Nuts just behind it, 48% of the vote, 75 total votes. Eggo Cereal was the closest that Rob ever came to Waffle Crisp until Waffle Crisp came back out recently. So Rob has tried it, and he says it's very good, very similar to Waffle Crisp, which I like. So now I want to try all of this. I want to retry Waffle Crisp. I didn't know it came back out recently. That's awesome. Special K versus Twinkie cereal. I love Twinkies, but I don't know about Twinkie cereal, how that would be. I haven't had a Twinkie in years. God, I would love one. If I could pick out any sweet to just have literally appear in front of me, it would be a Twinkie. However, Twinkie cereal, not so much. We'll see though, I would try it. Twinkie cereal lost against Special K. 34.1% of the vote it received, whereas Special K won with 65.9%. 44 total votes. Weetabix, which like I said, I tried. It was okay with stuff in it, like honey or bananas, but it wasn't the best. Paul did eat the rest of the cereal after I tried it on the stream. He ate the whole box. But that went against Chocolate Peanut Butter Cheerios, and Chocolate Peanut Butter Cheerios won with 73.3%. Weetabix lost big here, 26.7%. Again, it's more of a British cereal. Not too many Americans know about Weetabix as much. However, you can get it on Amazon. It's not like you can't get it. But yeah, I think maybe people just don't know about Weetabix. And I know some of my British friends were mad that Weetabix lost here. 45 total votes. Again, that's it. So just to go over again, I'm going to disappear off camera real quick. 1 second. This is my top 8. This was my top 8. Some of them are gone. Honey Graham Ohs are gone. Captain Crunch is gone. How is this possible? I don't know, but as you can see, those are my top 8 yet again. And we're about to go into round 2. What is going to face what? This is going to be a fight to the death, or a vote to the death, a poll to the death, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a tough round. I'm eager to see who's matched up against who, and which cereal is going to go forward. I can't wait till the polls are out. I'm going to be excited, but also nervous, because I always get nervous with these polls, because I sometimes have, like, a biased interest in them. I'm like, oh, I hope this one wins. Like with, like, for instance, with Rice Krispies Treats cereal from the 90s. I want it to win, and to keep going forward, and to keep going into the polls as much as possible. Alright, so let's look at round 2 here. And, this is a different cereal background. So look at this nice, I spent so much time on these graphics, I took like a long time making these. Luckily, I had them made a couple of months ago, so I didn't have to do it like this week, so that was good. But okay, second round. First poll will be Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Frosted Cheerios. This is going to be hard for me personally. These are two of my favorite cereals. I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yes, it was in my top 8, but I would never snub Frosted Cheerios. So this will be scary. One of these good cereals is going to get eliminated and won't make it to round 3. Honey Nut Cheerios versus French Toast Crunch. Oh my god, this is also going to be tough here. I don't know who is going to win here, but I feel like Honey Nut Cheerios everyone loves. You know, it's more widely popular. However, I feel like these 90s kids might think, hey, French Toast Crunch deserves to go forward. So we'll see. Nails is saying for the previous one, Frosted Cheerios over Cinnamon Toast for the win. Ooh, that's a controversial opinion, I think. Even Zach says the opposite. Goodbye Frosted Cheerios. So we've already got separate voting and separate opinions in the chat right now as we speak. Again, this will be one of the other polls. Honey Nut Cheerios versus French Toast Crunch. And here we go. Cookie Crisp versus Pop-Tart Cereal. Honestly, I'd be happy with either of these advancing. So this one's not too difficult. I think either one would be good to go on with the round. However, I feel like both of these cereal, they could potentially be eliminated in the third round because I just feel like neither of these has the stature to keep going forward if it was paired against a super popular cereal. It would have to be like a one-sided poll for it to advance. Alright, here we go. This is even more difficult. Reese's Puffs versus Frosted Mini Wheats. I don't know. I have a feeling one of my favorites, Frosted Mini Wheats, is out of here. I have a feeling Reese's Puffs will crush Frosted Mini Wheats. This is hard. This is difficult. I don't know what to do. But Zach is saying that some of these polls should be blowouts. I don't think they all should be. I think some of these might be quite close, actually. Okay. Cheerios versus Lucky Charms. Now we're talking about classic Cheerios, no flavor. Yes, you could add sugar, but really is that enough to win? I don't think so. I think personally Lucky Charms is going forward. Now, I'll be right back, guys. Give me 1 second. Alright, so already we've got some favorites being played here. Sorry guys, I had to go get something. Nails is saying that she would pick Cheerios in this situation. What? I'm so surprised. And, you know, going back to a previous matchup, Rob says, it's funny how everyone vouches for Cinnamon Toast Crunch in these polls, and yet Honey Nut Cheerios outsells it in the USA by like 120%. I can't believe that. I do believe it in a way because I feel like even people who want to be healthy, they would more likely get Honey Nut Cheerios over Cinnamon Toast Crunch because they feel like, you know, they're still having cereal, but it's a lesser bad for you cereal, I guess you could say. Rob said honey butt Cheerios. He did. If it was just a typo, though. Kat is saying Lucky Charms gets her vote. Yay, me too. I am all for Lucky Charms in this poll right here. Moving on. Oh gosh. Apple Jacks versus Captain Crunch Berries. You know, this is kind of funny. It kind of reminds you of fruitiness. You got two fruity type cereals here going head to head. Who is going to win? This will be interesting to see. I don't know what I would vote for. I think Apple Jacks. I just remember having Apple Jacks so many times as a kid. Jody says Apple Jacks, they're great. They are great. I mean, I love Apple Jacks, like I said. And the commercials, as I referenced earlier, really creative back in the day. I remember the commercials quite a bit. Honey Bunches of Oats with Almonds versus Cocoa Krispies. I do feel like this one could be tough. Apparently, Cocoa Krispies are somewhat popular, although I would pick Cocoa Pebbles over Cocoa Krispies any day of the week. But still, I just don't know what could come out on top here. I feel like Cocoa Krispies might be more popular, but Honey Bunches of Oats would probably sell better because, again, appealing to adults who are trying to eat right versus, getting a sugary kid-like cereal, they would just end up trying to do the lesser of two evils and get the Honey Bunches of Oats. So we'll see. Let's go to the next one. Froot Loops versus Rice Krispies. Again, plain Rice Krispies, I'm thinking Froot Loops could kick its butt. I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's right, but I want this. Come on, Froot Loops. You can do this. Nail says, going back to this really quick, she's voting for Cocoa Krispies just for the pure fact that her mind is blown and she's shocked that they're elves. She thought they were like kids or something. She is really shocked that the Rice Krispie Treat kids, or the Rice Krispie kids, that they're elves. But they are. And for this one, Kat says definitely Froot Loops over Rice Krispies. That's how I think too. Alright, here's another hard one. Fruity Pebbles versus Honeycomb. Yeah, I feel like Fruity Pebbles should win easily here, but you never know. I mean, we could have an upset here, and Honeycomb could upset it in these polls. It's hard to say with complete assurity, like, oh yeah, like this is definitely going to win with 100% confidence. I just don't know if that's the case here. Some people hate Fruity Pebbles, but I don't see how. It's like, again, the Flintstones. I know Jody said it was trash, but hell, it is iconic. I know I keep using that word, but some of these cereals just have such a long-standing history. An impressive history, Zach says he's the biggest Flintstones fan you'll find, but Honeycomb all the way. That's what I'm saying. You can't just write off Honeycomb. It could easily win here. Cocoa Puffs versus Pops. I'm hoping, personally, for Pops, because that was always a good cereal. However, I will say, when Pops get stale, that's a tongue twister too. When Pops get stale, it's bad. They stick together, they're hard like cement, like a rock, and you gotta be really careful with the bag because they can get stale pretty easily. I mean, it doesn't take much. Just a couple of hours, open a little bit, oh god, then it's a mistake. You wasted your whole box of Pops. So, I'm not a fan of that happening, but I've had it occur quite a few times, to be honest, and I guess that shows you that I'm not good at opening the bags of cereal within the boxes of the cereal. I'm not good at that at all. I try to open it carefully, but then before you know it, you rip into it. And my parents, though, when I was a kid, they used to have these plastic containers. So we would open up the plastic bag and we would pour them into these plastic containers and we would just toss the boxes. So that's the way we used to store our cereal for a long time growing up. But now, keep the boxes here at my house, so it still gets stale sometimes, though. Here we go. Count Chocula, we're alive, he says, versus Booty-O's. Two kind of very cartoony cereals. What is going to wind up on top? I don't know. This is going to be a fun one, but I think Count Chocula is going to win. Cocoa Pebbles versus Oreo O's. This is hard here. I don't know what's gonna happen. I feel like Pebbles should win, but people love Oreo O's. I'm eager to see what you guys think here, because maybe I just personally didn't like Oreo O's. To me, personal preference, this isn't close at all. I would pick Cocoa Pebbles in a heartbeat, but am I on the outskirts? Am I in the minority of this opinion? Do people prefer Oreo O's? I don't know, because to me, I always preferred Cocoa Pebbles. I hardly ever had Oreo O's. My friend Kristen, like I said, she had Reese's Puffs, she had Cookie Crisp, and she had Oreo O's at her house, and that's the only time I ever had them. I never liked them quite enough to ask my mom to get them for our house, though. That's the thing. I don't know. And I love Oreos, the cookies. So I don't know. Rob says he prefers Oreo O's Mega Stuff because the marshmallow bits make a big difference. Oh, I haven't ever tried that. I'll have to take a bite of that. Alright, here we go. Here is my horse in the race yet again. Rice Krispie Treat Cereal, the 90s recipe. That is my stipulation. Versus Frosted Flakes. And I feel like I have no chance here. My cereal is going to get eliminated against the super popular, super old Frosted Flakes. They're great. But yeah, they're great, but I don't want them to be so great that they eliminate my boys' Rice Krispie Treat Cereal. No. No. I really don't want this to happen. I would prefer that Rice Krispie Treats wins and moves forward. Like, I had forgotten what cereals were going to be pitted against another, so when I told you guys when we were looking at the poll results that Rice Krispie Treat Cereal was moving forward and I was all excited, I honestly, until just now, could not remember what Rice Krispie Treat Cereal was going against in the second round. Now that I see this matchup, I'm very worried. I'm concerned as hell. And Zach says, yeah, Rice Krispie Treats is getting demolished in this poll. No! No! That's not what I want. Gosh darn. Whatever. It is what it is. No! I totally forgot it was going up against a flippin' behemoth here. I made these graphics, like I said, like months ago, so I literally had no idea. Frickin' behemoth. No! Alright, whatever. I'm dejected now. I'm sad. Malt Oatmeal Cereal, any bag, any flavor, versus Special K. I don't know. This is hard. Special K appeals to people. I mean, it's healthy. It ain't bad. But malt oatmeal, I feel like, is sugary. At least depending on what bag you get. And if you really put on the general stipulation that it could be any bag, couldn't that give malt oatmeal the edge over Special K? Huh, I don't know. I could see this going either way, honestly. So, we'll have to see. We'll know in a few weeks' time, or even less amount of time, depending on how fast I get these poll results done, and put out the polls, etc. Alright, chocolate peanut butter Cheerios, which I've never had, versus Golden Grahams. This should be easy. Golden Grahams are great. They're even good without milk. I gotta say, if I were just guessing, an educated guess, I would say that it has to be Golden Grahams. Come on. But, you never know. Speaking of our previous matchup, let me back up. Nell says she loves Special K. So there you go, it could easily beat malt oatmeal. There are people who love it. But Jody says her mom won a year's supply of malt oatmeal cereal once. That's so cool. What a way to save money for a year. You just get free malt oatmeal bags of cereal. And a lot of times, you know, it's not like they're a lot different than the regular name brand cereals. Just personally, my mom did get the name brands. I don't know why. But again, let's go back to this one. I think Golden Graham should win. I'm crossing my fingers here. I think it deserves to win, to be honest with you. Alright, Golden Crisp versus Boo Berry. This one might be tough. I personally don't think Boo Berry is good. I don't even know if I've tried it, as I said earlier. But I feel like Golden Crisp is good. It's delicious for sure. It's super sugary, just like Honey Smacks. It's like the same type of cereal, just a different mascot and different brand. But I feel like Golden Crisp should win if we're going on flavor. But if we're going on the brand as an entirety, Boo Berry might be more appealing to people who love the way it looks, who love just the idea of it being like a fun seasonal cereal that they remember getting, a very thematic cereal. So I don't know, this could be a tough race for all we know. Nails asks about Jody's mom winning the year supply. She wants to know, do they send the cereal all at once? She always wondered with those types of competitions or contests, like, do you get it all at once, or does it come a little at a time? Again, it would probably be a little difficult. I don't know if the cereal would eventually get stale. As long as you don't open it, I would assume it would be okay. But yeah, I want to know the answer to that too, Jody. Tell us. Do you remember if she got it all at once, or if she had to wait for the cereal over the year? Nail says the ghost on the Boo Berry box doesn't even look like the Boo Berry. I know. I mean, he looks kind of smarmy and smug, kind of. Like, hey, I'm a ghost. I got a bow tie. Eat my cereal. I don't know why I made him sound creepy and mean and, I don't know, very strange, but I did. Zach says I like this. Bye-bye, Boo Berry. Bye-bye. I like that. It's very clever. Just the way it sounds, the alliteration of it. All right. And that brings us back to the beginning. So that's all of them. That's round 2. I'm nervous, guys. I'm real nervous. I don't know what's gonna happen. This is stupid. I'm not like legit nervous to where I'm like, oh, bite my nails. But still, it'll be entertaining to find out what is gonna win and what is gonna get eliminated. Round 3 should be even more fun because I think as we go on, it will get tougher and tougher. So I'm scared. Not really, like not literally, but I'm full of anticipation, I guess is the appropriate phrase. Alright, so round 2, just to wrap it up. We just went through what round 2 will look like, which cereal will face which. Again, 32 cereals, which would be 16 polls. Look out, I'm going to put them in one thread on Twitter. And I think that's the best way to do it so that I don't have to wait like an hour in between. And that way they won't be hard to find. And I'll even put in the thread, in the tweet, each individual tweet, make sure you vote in all the polls in this thread and how many total polls there are so people can be sure that they're voting in all the polls. Because that's a problem I've seen with threads. People will vote in one of the polls on the thread and they won't vote in the other. But there's also other problems with spreading it out. So again, I think putting it all in a thread, these 16 polls will be the best thing. By the time round 2 is over, round 3 will have 16 cereals with 8 polls. Round 4, 8 cereals with 4 polls. Round 5, 4 cereals with 2 polls. And the final round, round 6, will have 2 cereals left, 1 poll. And that will be our 2 head-to-head competition. It'll be tough, and one will come out on top as the best cereal right now, out on shelves. That'll be fun to see. Alright, so that's our little cereal talk with the bracket. But let's talk about a few more facts quickly. Okay, Lucky Charms marshmallows have changed. When Lucky Charms debuted in 1963, it was sweetened with 4 marshmallow colors and types: green clovers, pink hearts, orange stars, and yellow moons. Today, only the pink hearts and green clovers remain relatively unchanged. The yellow moons have turned blue. The orange stars are now orange and white shooting stars. Also in the current lineup, rainbows, horseshoes, balloons, and I don't think they have unicorns anymore, but this says unicorns, but this was from a few years ago, these tidbits. Also, some old designs of the marshmallows, they've had hourglasses and blue diamonds. That's random. Just give me whatever. I love the marshmallows. I'll pick them out one by one. I love them. Jody says, so when you win this year's supply, they send you a big stack of coupons to last you a year. Oh, that's a good idea. That way you could go and you could buy whatever brand you want, and it saves, like Nail says, it saves on postage, and also you could buy cereal at your own pace so it doesn't go bad. I would have never even thought to just, oh, they give you coupons. I thought they were going to give you the merchandise, the actual food, the product, but I guess not. That makes more sense, the way Jody said they do it. So that makes sense. That's cool. Thanks, Jody, for letting us know how that works. That's cool. I'm glad your mom won. That's so awesome. I've never won any kind of contest like that. I wish. Especially if it was a year's supply of any cereal. Hell yeah. Oh my god. That would be awesome. Alright, some more fun facts. The Trix rabbit has eaten his cereal only 3 times, as of a few years ago. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. So goes one of the most iconic lines in cereal advertising. But it turns out the Trix rabbit has indeed gotten his paws on a bowl of his favorite fruity cereal 3 times. In 1976, when he tricked kids by dressing up as a balloon seller. In 1980, when kids took pity on the rabbit during a mail-in vote. And in 1991, after winning the Tour de Trix bicycle race. So that's cool. So although most of the time you're left feeling bad for the rabbit because he never gets the cereal, he did get it 3 times. But still, that's very little out of so many years. If you go all the way back to flippin', what did they say? When is it from? It doesn't even say when it started. But still. Even if you go back to the first time he got it in 76, that's a long time to only get it 3 times, to only get flipping 3 little morsels and samples of an awesome cereal. And again, Trix, I'm sad. It's gone. It's out. It's out. Trix. I love Trix. How could it not have gone forward? Apple Jacks, by the way. Apple Jacks got in trouble for its bad apple. Apple Jacks kids may be the best known Apple Jacks mascots, having reigned for more than 2 decades starting in the 70s. But a more recent campaign involving a Jamaican cinnamon stick, Cinnamon, and the grouchy bad apple had the cereal in the hot seat. Several groups called on Kellogg's to change the ads because they were disparaging fruit and teaching kids that apples are not good for them to eat. Though it called the charges unfounded, Kellogg's did agree to stop calling apples bad. Alright, that's taking it too far. It's just some fun with some advertising. That is really overanalyzing the depiction of an apple. Come on. It's just a cartoon apple. It means nothing in the grand scheme of things. That is going too far. I might have pasted that here without even reading it, because I feel like I'm just, although I typed this out and wrote all this in the document and pasted it in the document and printed it out, I feel like I did not read that part, and I'm like, whoa, my mind is kind of blown right now. Why would anyone care about the apple thing? I don't know. Frosted Flakes were introduced in 1952, and its popular mascot, Tony the Tiger, was voiced by Thurl Ravenscroft. I don't know if I just said his name right, but I assure you, at least according to this, it is spelled Thurl. Thurl. I have never heard of this name, or read this name anywhere, but I guess that's right. Ravenscroft. Ravenscroft. Very unique name. Well, anyway, he played the voice of Tony the Tiger for more than 50 years. He was a Nebraska native who left for Hollywood as a teenager. Ravenscroft provided voiceovers for many Disneyland rides, including The Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. He also sang, uncredited, "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," in the famed cartoon film How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which is iconic. That voice, I could hear it in my head right now. I did not know it was the same as Tony the Tiger, but how cool and interesting and fascinating is that fact. I love that fact. It blew my mind. I had no idea. I love that fact. Alright, we're going towards the end of the facts here. Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch has been eliminated. Captain Crunch has a doozy of a name. "Oh, Captain, my Captain." A Twitter user questioned whether the mascot is actually a Commodore Crunch instead of a captain, because he pointed out that naval captains typically have 4 stripes on their sleeve, not 3. As you can see, Captain Crunch, he has 3 stripes. So, 1, 2, 3. So usually, captains have 4. I did not know this. So anyway, Captain himself decreed the charge as hearsay. Of course, the mascot captain, the company said, "Oh, this is hearsay." In the process, he also revealed his real name, and it's quite befitting of a seafaring cereal icon, Horatio Magellan Crunch. So, ever wondered what his name was? Horatio Magellan Crunch. That's pretty cool, and he is, apparently, they claim he's a captain. And they say it's hearsay to say he was not. If he's a captain. So there you go. I don't know, Commodore or Commander, but they abbreviated it CMDR. That could be Commander. So maybe they're saying that he might be a commander because of the 3 stripes and not a captain. Alright, moving on. I'll try not to dwell too much on this, that it's been eliminated. How? Why? It's a travesty. Anyway, we're going past it, I swear. By the way, just to make you guys laugh, you know how I always say the word ridiculous and I say it too much and I always say I've got to avoid saying it? Well, I actually wrote down other words to say in place of it, just to give you some synonyms for ridiculous. Ludicrous. Hilarious, amusing, laughable, comical, insane, a hoot, riot, nutty, incredible, wacky, humorous, delightful, playful, off the wall. Preposterous. So yeah, I looked up more. And because I had been saying absurd a lot, I even said to avoid saying absurd. So I looked up other words. And I also looked up other words because I noticed I've been saying cool a lot. Especially when I had my musical chats with Kat. And some other chats that we had. I was like, I'm saying cool quite a bit. And of course in my Paperbacks from Hell chat, I was saying way too much stuff. Like, and cool. So I wrote down neat, snazzy, impressive, priceless, clever, whimsical. So I will try to start using other words. I want to improve my vocabulary a little bit, so bear with me, guys. I'm trying. I've made notes to say better words, to say more varied words, you know? We've got Prime Nostalgia joining us in the chat. Oh my god, Prime Nostalgia, you missed it. We went through the poll results of the cereal bracket, the first round, and then we revealed what the second round was going to be, and I am excited for round 2. The votes will be up, the polls will be up for voting on Twitter as early as tomorrow. We'll see. I'm excited. If I say the word that I'm trying not to say ridiculous. I'm just going to say it to say what I'm talking about, or it wouldn't make sense in the context or without context. Robin Nails, will stop and shout ridiculous like you do in the streams when you realize you said it. So they actually, like Pee Wee Herman, you scream when you hear the secret word. They do that when I say the word. That is so funny. It's okay, Nostalgia. I don't mind that you're late. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. We're just talking about cereal facts right now, and we just talked about how Captain Crunch's real name is Horatio, which is great. I love that name. Also, by the way, here's another fact we didn't talk about yet. Steve Urkel had his own cereal. In 1991, there was a brief time that they had a cereal called Urkel Ohs. It's a tongue twister, honestly. Urkel Ohs. It was to capitalize on the fame of the nerdy Family Matters star. That's far from the only TV show or movie spin-off cereal, though. In the 1980s, the heyday of movie and TV cereals gave us boxes of sugary stuff based on everything from Rainbow Bright and Transformers to E.T. and Ghostbusters. Man, I wish I was around in the 80s to try the Ghostbusters cereal. That would have been so good. Also, I would love to try the fictional cereal of the Reptar cereal. I'm wearing Reptar right now. Speaking Prime Nostalgia, look, I'm wearing a Nickelodeon shirt. Reptar! Where are you? Reptar, gotta find that Reptar. Anyway, okay. I'd love to have some Reptar cereal, which they, I think, did make. I think it's real. I know they made the box. I don't know if they actually made, like, a cereal that you can eat that's good. I'll have to look into that more. I know they made a Reptar bar. And they also made the box for it. Final cereal fact. Franken Berry cereal caused... Okay, this is kind of vulgar. I apologize for this. I'm only saying this because it's very interesting and like, whoa. And it's almost kind of scary because it could have been a health hazard, and it was a health hazard. So Franken Berry cereal, please excuse this, caused pink Franken poop. The early 70s were a simpler time in a lot of ways, but maybe not for doctors forced to diagnose Franken Berry stool. Yep, the neon pink poop was a real condition, caused when kids downed too much of General Mills' new Franken Berry cereal. Turns out the cereal got its bright hue, in part from the indigestible and soon-to-be banned red dye number 2. So it's since that dye has been banned in cereal and all food. So yeah, kind of gross, but it was a thing. Imagine being the parent being like, oh my god, my kid... You would think they were bleeding or something. It's, like, kind of scary. So I understand. I thought it was an interesting fact. By the way, I'm not trying to plagiarize. So a lot of this came from the blog.cheapism.com again, and a few other websites. So thanks to those other websites for helping me find some fun facts and some trivia things that I would have never known about before. I like cereal, but I didn't know that stuff. I gotta admit to you. And one final thing before I wrap up. Something to look forward to this weekend. On this very YouTube channel that you're watching right now, I'm going to upload a chat with my friend Kat, who is in the chat right now. We talked about the horror movie Holidays, which is an anthology covering different holidays throughout the year, including Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patty's Day. It does all these little mini shorts, and it's an anthology film. It's a horror movie. It's great. And we talk all about it, we review it, but we don't give away spoilers. We kind of tiptoe around some stuff. You know, we might have hinted at some stuff, but I feel like if you haven't seen it, you don't need to have seen it to watch our chat. But if you want to see it, here's a heads up. You've got until Saturday if you want to see it before our chat, or you can watch it anytime on demand, because it's always up after it's uploaded, obviously. It lives on my YouTube. You can watch it anytime after you watch Holidays, if you really want to watch the movie first. It's for free streaming on Netflix, Holidays. You could find it. If you have Netflix streaming, it's there. And it's not that long. It's like an hour and a half. Very easy watch. I am excited about this chat coming to YouTube. Me and Kat, I feel like we analyzed it really, really well, and I don't know. It was a good time, I gotta say. We had a blast, and I think it turned out, I don't know, I think it was one of my better, like, analytical videos. So I can't wait for you guys to check it out, especially if you love the horror genre. I think it'll be right up your alley. Second thing to talk about from my YouTube channel, the channel you're watching right now, musicals. If you love movie musicals, we're talking Grease, Singing in the Rain, Across the Universe, Gigi, Funny Face, and all these other awesome movies. Check out our musicals chat, me and Kat. We had another chat. We've been having lots of chats lately and lots of marathons, and they're all up on my YouTube channel. We did one for Halloween, last Halloween. We did one for Christmas. Actually, we did 2 for Christmas. 1 horror themed and 1 just general Christmas themed. And then, like I said, we just did this musicals chat. And here's a clip just to show you guys a little thing. So here is, not only did we rank our favorite musicals we watched for the marathon, we ranked our top 5 songs from the marathon, and we gave a ton of trivia. I was so happy with all the trivia we talked about in this chat. Here is a sneak peek of some of the trivia we talked about, and this is specifically about Grease, and about the theory of, you know, some people have a theory about the ending of Grease and what it really means. So here's the sneak peek. Here you go. Enjoy. And then there's a theory about the ending of the movie. It says, in the decades following this movie's release, a theory circulated that Sandy actually drowned at the beach in the beginning, and that the rest of the movie is a near-death hallucination. Theorists claim that the famous flyaway in the car scene is her ascent into heaven. It's people taking the end and being like, why are they floating away in the car?
Well, you know what I thought? Do you know what I thought about when I saw him fly away in the car? Because I forgot about that scene. Do you know what I was thinking of?
What?
Christmas Evil.
Oh my God! Yes! I forgot. That's what I remember that now. Yes. Oh my God, that is so Christmas Evil.
And think about it. Wasn't that kind of like him?
Yeah.
Like, because he was going to get it. I mean, he wasn't going to live.
Exactly.
So
that's why people theorize that maybe she was dead all along, and this was like her like near-death fantasy kind of thing. Kind of interesting to think about it, because it actually fits a little bit.
It does. Yeah, because it is kind of quirky that they end up flying into the sky.
I mean, it just doesn't fit with the rest of the movie at all. Like, the rest is all supposed to be realistic, and then all of a sudden they're flying. Like, what the hell? So yeah, people had to give it a reason, I suppose, and that's what they thought. So there you go. There's some of our trivia about Grease and the theories around the ending, and also Kat mentions a horror movie, Christmas Evil. So even in a musicals chat, we end up mentioning horror. Somehow, some way we do, because I love horror as a genre. I love it in terms of film horror, and I love horror fiction too. So cinematic horror, book horror, it doesn't matter. I love horror. It's so good. It's so fun and entertaining to talk about. But I also love movie musicals. So it's not all about the scares and the spooks, especially with this video. So I'm very happy about the video with Kat. We had a great time together talking. I love our chats so much. Always just a wonderful, pleasant time together. And again, I think you guys will enjoy it because I used a lot of pictures when I edited it. So, like, for instance, we talk about Sweeney Todd, and Kat starts talking about the color scheme of the movie, and I show a picture to kind of show and tell you guys what she's talking about so you could see it firsthand. And then I say, oh, yeah, it's like this, but then there's some scenes that are really bright like this, and then I show a picture of that. So I'm very happy with it. I think you guys might enjoy it. I think it's a good time. It is long. All of our chats are kind of long. We even have been talking about, like, how do we make them shorter? But it's so difficult because there's so much fun stuff to say and stuff to look up. And so hopefully you guys will check that out. I really think it's a good video, honestly. So, by the way, so we talk about all kinds of stuff, not just Grease, not just across the universe, not just those ones I mentioned in the beginning. But we talk about so many. Like, I talk about Popeye. I love the musical Popeye. Everyone kind of craps on it and forgets about it. But Robin Williams, it was his first big movie role. So we talk about that. We talk about Labyrinth. That will make Nails very happy. Of course, David Bowie. We talk about that and have a good time about his hair and all kinds of other stuff. And then we also talk about cats. Unfortunately, I didn't talk much about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but stay tuned. One of my next streams will be about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'll do a whole standalone review, so that's something to look forward to. It'll be a stream filled with pure imagination. So that'll be so pleasant. I can't wait for that. But, by the way, before I go, so remember, Thursdays, I'm going to be streaming here on YouTube. Sundays, I will usually be on Twitch. This Sunday, I can't. I'm out of town yet again. I know I keep canceling days, but I'll make it up because there'll be a video uploaded to YouTube on Saturday, which should make up for it. So no stream on Sunday, but a uploaded video onto this YouTube channel on Saturday, but nothing on Twitch on Sunday. But I'm going to try to make it up by doing a chat on Twitch next week early. So not, obviously I won't wait till the next Sunday, but maybe Monday, Tuesday, I'm trying not to do Wednesday, but maybe Monday, Tuesday I could fit it in. If you guys can't make it, no big deal, but I might squeeze in a Twitch stream since I can't do Sunday. But again, either way, regardless, there'll be that extra upload on Saturday. So lots to look forward to. Hopefully you'll check out my other content. It would mean a lot to me. And if you love pop culture and nostalgia themed things and nostalgia centric things, please consider sharing my channel. Or if you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified anytime I go live. Appreciate you all. You guys rock. Hopefully you enjoyed all the cereal talk. I guess I should end by eating one bite of. I hate eating on screen and on mic. There's no good catchphrase, is it? Crunchalize me, Cap'n. Crunchatize me. Not crunchalize. Crunchatize me, Cap'n. Alright. Aye, Cap'n. I'll see you guys later. Until next time. Hopefully, this won't even make sense. This is like my way of trying to tie in like a cereal tagline. It's been great! And hopefully, the rest of your week will be magically delicious. Bye, guys. It doesn't even make sense. See y'all later. It's so dumb. Bye. I really appreciate all of you. I love talking with you in the chat. See you later.